Welcome to the Michael Singer podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Executive trimesters. It's interesting how the human mind compartmentalizes things. And sometimes you look and you say, the thing they don't like, presented another way, is exactly the things they do like. And what we teach, surrender and acceptance, and not everybody teaches that. Very deep teaching, surrender and acceptance. The first problem is people think that acceptance is about the outside, that if an airplane's coming at you, a car's driving at you, just stand there. Accept the consequences that you're standing there. Acceptance has nothing to do with that. Acceptance has to do that things are happening outside. They come in. That's why you have senses. So far we're fine. What's supposed to be happening is happening. It's coming in. You're experiencing it. Acceptance means, can you handle that? Can you handle that reality unfolds in front of you? Who says it's reality? Reality does. It happened. Therefore, it's reality. How do you define reality? That which already happened. Can you change it? Can anybody change what already happened? Answer me. No. It's reality. But I don't like it. I understand. That has nothing to do with the fact that it's reality. So surrender and acceptance are about what comes in. Reality comes in. It comes in. Can you handle it? I didn't say you don't know anything about it, but can you handle it? As your first response, this is reality. I'm at peace with reality because it's reality. I have no choice. It's binary. I either accept it or I fight. And fighting does no good because it came in. It's there. So acceptance is that. It's not some outer thing. Don't make it that. And surrender is that. What do you mean? Aren't you supposed to be surrendering what's happening outside? It's deeper than that. You're supposed to be letting go, surrendering the resistance that you're experiencing inside because of what came in from outside. If you get that, you got the teachings. It's much deeper than whatever happens. You just let happen. However, but whatever happens, you better start by accepting that it happened. Why? Because it did happen. And if you don't accept that it happened, you're going to do some psycho mumbo-jumbo stuff about it. You're going to suppress it. You don't even suppress the event. You suppress the resistant energy that comes up inside of you. You push that away. You can't suppress what happened outside because it happened. It's already over. You don't have to suppress it. It's already gone. The snake crawled away. The person said what they said. There's no touching it for now. Not the first instance. First instance, it came in, you experienced it. Can you surrender your resistance that's coming up inside of you? That's what surrender means. Usually I talk like that at the end of the talk, but I want you to get it first. Do you understand the difference? So you're in there resisting reality. Who says it's reality? What does the Bible say? Let those who have eyes to see, let them see. Let those who have ears to hear, let them hear. What does it happen? If it didn't happen, don't worry about it. How about that? That's how you know it's reality. Okay, it didn't happen. Okay, then you're fine. But it did happen, and I can't handle it. So I suppress my resistance to the event, and I deny the event. I practice denial or resistance or repression or suppression. Those are all psychological Freudian terms of what you are doing inside when you can't handle the reality that came in. So surrender means let go. Not let go of your will. Use your will. Use your will to accept reality. Then you will find out if you do that, you can look outside and see some openings. You can see some things that you might be able to be doing, or maybe not, that will help the situation, but not help you. It's not about, I can't handle it. How can I make it be a way that I can handle? because that is so selfish. That is the epitome of ego. All that matters is me and how I'm doing after this event took place. Has nothing to do with the person who did the event, has nothing to do with what's going to happen tomorrow, has nothing to happen in the past. It just has to do with I can't handle it. So I need to figure out a way to neutralize it, to suppress it, to deny it, I don't know, rationalize it, do something about it so that I can handle it. You didn't fix anything outside. You didn't solve what caused the thing to happen. It was solely so you can handle what happened. So you lie, or you deny it, or I don't know, you do lots of things, or you rationalize, she didn't mean that. She couldn't possibly have meant that. Why do you say that? Because I couldn't handle what she said. How can you tell whether she meant it or not when you know you can't handle what you thought she said? And you're going to find out that the reason you can't handle it is your past patterns. You've learned from the past. If somebody talks to you like that, it hurts and it causes problems. Your mother did it, your father did it, your formative years did it. You understand that? You're programmed to look at what got said or done in the way accordance to your past. And so now you're sitting there saying, I can't handle it. And what I need to do is manipulate people, places, and things so that I can handle it. I don't know whether you see it, but that is a non-starter. If you're in there doing that, I assure you, you're in trouble. Because you're only doing it to manipulate the energy around you so that you change. Apologize. Say you're sorry. Say you didn't mean it. To which the person says, what didn't I mean? I don't know what you're talking about. You get embarrassed that you heard it wrong. It was said that way. The person doesn't even know what you're talking about. If you shove it out with the negative, resistant energy that you're experiencing inside, you're just dumping that into the world. It's polluting. You're dumping negative reactive energy from inside of you that you've stored from the past. Something hit it, and now, boom, I need to do something to make myself feel better. And that's what you're doing, okay? I can't believe you said it to me. I never thought you would say something like it to me. I don't ever want to see you again. But we're married with 3 children. I don't care. That's really a good thing to say, right? It makes a lot of sense. No, I need to learn to handle what you said. I need to learn to be at peace, to be open, to be surrendered inside. Then I have a chance of actually hearing what you said, as you said it and meant it, not as I took it. See the difference? So that's where we're starting, to say that things happen outside, they come in, and we have a problem with them. And everything you do from then on, you're in trouble. I'm telling you. You want to talk about karma? I don't talk about karma. I don't like the way you all understand karma. But if you take that energy, it came in, you at least interpret it as dark and troublesome, and you throw it back out as somebody or something, right? It already came back. That person is going to react accordingly. They'll get defensive and whatever it is. They'll never talk to you again. You just dump that lays karmic. I didn't like it. It doesn't lay karmic seeds. It's just instantaneously cause and effect takes place. Very scientific. You're going to get back what you threw out. So what does one do with this now that we understand that reality is a problem? All right? First, is reality a problem? For some reason, a little song has been playing in my head lately, right? Back in the 60s or 70s, the Birds sang it. It's called, for everything there's a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for war, a time for peace. You heard of that, right? No, it came from the Bible. What does it mean? It happens to be the truth. It's not about right and wrong. In the winter, the leaves fall off the trees. You okay with that? At certain times, Saturn is further away from us and it's tilted in a way that even with a telescope, you can't see the rings. You okay with that? These things are called reality. And if you're not okay with them, there's something wrong with you. Because for everything, there's a season and a time for every person under heaven. Those impersonal things, you feel okay with. Sure, let Saturn do what it does. Let the leaves fall off, as long as they don't have to break them up too much. Huh? Hear me? You're making it about you. Everything's about you. It's not for everything there is a season and a time for every person in heaven. You know who said that? Not my will, but thy will be done. They can be a song. They can be a teaching of surrender and acceptance. and they can be spiritual teachings of great masters. Because that's what it says. Not my will, but thy will. What do you mean? If it be the will of creation that the leaves fall off in winter, at least in the north, in the south, they bud. Is it okay with you? You know what I'm saying? At some point, you stop and you say, gee, it's really true. If I get it out of the way, for everything there's a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. And you get to, for example, you had a bad experience at night once. You were walking down the street alone and something happened and it left very bad impressions on you. And you don't like when it's getting, there are people, they get uptight when it starts getting dark. Do you understand that? And there are people who start getting uptight when it starts getting light. It's based upon the experience that you've had during the morning or the days or the evening and the night. It's completely personal. Why? I teach you this and I know you don't like it because it has nothing to do with you, right? It has nothing to do with you whether it's day or night. You think it does because it hits your stuff in there that you stored in there and it makes you feel weird. And you don't say for everything there's a season and time for every purpose. You say everything should be the way I want, don't you? And I'm going to go out there and make sure that you say what I want you to say and don't say what I want you to say. And I'm going to make sure that when nightfall comes that I got bars on the windows or I'm out partying, whatever turns me on, right? And you like that. You don't say for everything there's a season and time for every purpose. You say for everything there's something I want happening that will make me happy and things I don't want happening that will make me uncomfortable. Okay? Wow, that is very, very different, isn't it? Now you understand what's meant by ego. What's meant by I matter more than the seasons and the real purposes of the unfolding of life. Life will unfold. Do you know that? Day will come and night will come and then day will come. People, I'm going to be very bad now, people will be born and people will die. For everything, there's a season, a time for every purpose. But I like babies, and I don't like dying. You're in trouble because you just violated the statement that for everything there's a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. You stuck in between the reality of what's taking place, your preferences, your views, your opinions, which you made up. I think it's just so funny. Where did you get your views and opinions? What if you went through a situation where somebody was pregnant and so on, and they didn't want to have the baby, they weren't ready, nothing, just so on, and it messed up their life, and the whole life got messed up, they couldn't take care of the baby, there was no finance, something like that. And maybe you don't like people having babies and getting pregnant, and it's overpopulation, and you come up with all kinds of reasons. And maybe you really like that somebody was suffering tremendously and their death came quickly and they didn't suffer too much. And you felt that death was a gift, that somebody coming to free you, to liberate you. Well, then you're very different than the other person. It's okay if I talk like that? No, because you have opinions. You hear me? You have things that no, that's not okay. Death is not okay. People should be left on life support forever till they naturally die. Or other people sit there and say, why are you doing that? Say with both, birth and death, right or wrong. What's the answer? You don't like the answer. The answer is, it's none of your business, not your initial reaction. For everything, there's a season and a time for every purpose. Are you okay with that? You know you're not. That's the problem. It's not the problem that people die. It's not the problem that people are born. It's not the problem that there's day or night or hot or cold or snow or rain. They just are. But you like one versus the other. If it's raining when you want to stay home and miss work, you like the rain. If it's raining or even predicted, forecasted to be raining the day before the birthday party you're planning on outside, you're neurotic the entire night. It didn't even rain yet. This is what happens if you don't live by truth And the truth is, for everything there's a season and a time for every person under heaven. Isn't it? And guess what? You ain't going to do squat about it. You worry all you want about the rain. You worry all you want about dying or about birth and overpopulation or this, that, and the other thing. Once you're okay and you accept that for everything there's a season and time for every person under heaven, you are at peace. Now you can help. Now you can look and see, is there something I can do? Not because I'm not okay with it, because I am okay with it. Is there some way I can help it, raise it, purify it, help others accept it? Can I bring peace? Because if I can't accept it, I can't bring peace because I'm not at peace. All right? Finally, will everybody understand? Because what you're taught is it's all about getting what you want, aren't you? And it's not hard to advertise that. Why? Because when you get what you want, you feel good. When you don't get what you want, you don't feel good. And when you get what you don't want, you definitely don't feel good. Right or wrong? So you just say, well, that's just the way it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with you. Your inability to handle reality is not a trait. Let's go out and fight. Well, look what happens. Anybody notice? If you can't accept things, you fight with each other. All right? Imagine all the people sharing all. You know what happened, baby? Living life of peace, and that ain't taking place. All right? Why? Because you think it's about getting what you want. That's the core root of why there can't be peace. There can be peace in you if you get what you want. There can be non-suffering in you if you don't have to deal with what you don't want. If nobody ever says what you don't want or treats you the way you don't want or looks prettier than you are or richer than you are. If everything's the way you want, you're okay. Is it that way naturally? Have you noticed that every time you wake up in the morning, the whole day is going to be the way you want and never be the way you don't want? No, you have to fight for that. You have to plot and plan and figure it all out and then try to make that happen. People have plans 20 years from now. I want to make sure that I have a baby before I'm, 28, 30, because my biological clock's going to be ticking. And I got to make sure that I'm strong enough to pick the kid up, right? Are you having a lot of nice thoughts? How old are you thinking those thoughts? Oh, 9. And don't think they don't. You hear me? You just ruined your life. Because you get back to the word I use, preferences. If you have a preference, you're going to suffer. Why? What if I get my preference? You'll worry about losing it. You'll outgrow it. You outgrew your dolls. You outgrew a lot of things, didn't you? You don't care about them. Where are they now? I don't know. So this concept that getting what you want is what life is about. It's not true. Life is about for everything there's a season, time for every purpose. Can I be at peace with that? And then bring peace into the situation. Okay? I had a friend who was head of very strong organizations, Amnesty International, all kinds of different things, and very politically active. But it was very deep. And I know he told me that during his most activist days, he was the head of one of these big organizations in D.C., and they would go down to some countries where a lot of non-human rights was taking place. And people were killing people and put them in jails for no reason, all kinds of things. And he himself would go down there and stand with a few other people and knock on the door of those prisons and demand that they see the inmates, to which they'd be threatened over and over again, right? He also would go over to some African countries where these warlords were kidnapping the kids, and so that they didn't have a life they could live except to fight for the warlords, right? And go there after that took place, when some semblance of peace was taking place, and go and bring the parents, the kids, and the perpetrator together, the person that was the warlord, and bring peace in those situations. Imagine how much cleansing you have to go through, right? That's what happens when you can accept what happened. When you can accept the reality, you have a choice and opportunity to bring peace to the situation, no matter how absurd the situation is, in your marriage, in your relationships. People are going to do things that you didn't think they would have done. People are going to say things that you never would have heard them say. It may be as simple because they had a bad meal the night before and they're in a bad mood and they didn't hold their tongue. Can you handle that? Or is that the beginning of the end of your marriage? See the difference? Did it take place? Yes. Can I handle it? It's not easy, but of course I have to be able to handle it or it's going to stay stuck inside of me. So what do? First, you accept that it took place. Second, you accept that it hurts. I feel loss. I feel anger. I feel pain. You don't leave anything out. It's all part of reality. It's all part. Did it take place? Yes. Do you feel sorrow about it? Yes. Can you handle that it took place? Yes. Can I handle? Handle doesn't mean the sorrow goes away. I can handle this feeling of sorrow. What happens if you don't? Well, if you don't handle that the event took place, you're practicing denial. You're suppressing the whole thing. Do I need to talk to you about suppression? Suppression is the worst thing you can do. Why? It doesn't go away through suppression. It stays inside of you, doesn't it? Go talk to Freud. Go talk to any therapist. Why do people lay on the couch and talk about what they couldn't handle 10, 20 years ago? Because it's still in there. Why is it still in there? Because you held it in there. There's my talk on suppression. Doesn't take long to talk about it. Is that healthy? Of course it's not healthy. Which would you rather do? Have an event take place that's uncomfortable and handle the period of time that for everything is a season. That, okay, this is uncomfortable. In the Jewish tradition, they have what's sitting Shiva, that was called, right? 8 days, who knows? Anybody? Okay, we'll call it 8 days. I'm Jewish, I should know. All right. But in any event, it doesn't matter. This is a phenomenal tradition. What it basically says is somebody died who you love or whatever, relative, whatever. Of course you're going to feel pain. Of course you're going to feel loss. It's part of the season right now. It's a season of pain. It's a season of loss. If you accept it, the sun will come up tomorrow. If you don't accept it, you will store the season of loss inside your heart and inside your mind. That's the entire science of psychology. I always tell you guys at this point in the talk, right, which I really like, is how smart is it to take the things that bothered you the most that are no longer happening and keep them stored inside so you can be bothered for the rest of your life. What a crazy thing to do. Those are the very things you should let go of. They're over. The death took place. Did you feel sorry? Yes, but it's over. If you let it, if you store it, it will never be over. It will always be a sensitive subject. You will always have trouble with it. If you see his picture or her picture or a thought, you'll start crying again and being all hurt. Now you see the teaching? For everything is a season, including those feelings that don't feel good. You're not leaving anything out. Everything has its right to be. That's not the question. The question is, can you handle it? Can I relax through it? You start with, I can't handle it. Okay, you got a long way to go. You start with next, well, if I can't handle it, I'm going to keep it suppressed in here. Even the therapist will say, can you handle it? Can we talk about it? See, can we handle talking? So little by little, can we learn to handle it? Even though it happened a long time ago, can we learn to handle it now? Okay, they're being very gentle with you. That's not the end, though. Then you get to the point of understanding, well, if I store this stuff in here, I'm not going to be happy. I need to be willing to let this stuff go, or I won't feel joy. I won't feel love. If I hold on to a lost love because somebody left or died, I'll never feel love again. I'll be so scared and keep the heart protected and so on. So the next step is I accept that it happened. I accept that it was difficult to deal with. And I accept that I'm better off dealing with it than I am not dealing with it. Better off not saying, don't talk about I don't want to talk about that. I'm better off sitting here saying, now we're at the next step. Bring it on. Oh boy, now you're ready. What do you mean? If you talk about it, I don't have to make you talk about it, but if you happen to talk about it and it hits me, thank you. Don't tell them thank you, right? But thank you. I don't want it in there. That's where you need to be the next stage. I don't want it in there. I've already seen what it does when it's in there. It destroys my life. Determines where I can live. Determines who I can date. Determines what I can eat. Be madly in love with somebody, have them die, and they're playing our song. And see how you feel about it, because tears are pouring down your eyes. You used to love that song. Now it hurts. How about the restaurant? You used to eat it all the time. Every time you drive by it, what happens? You stored the pain. So it's not about denying the pain. It's about releasing, handling, processing. How? You start with acceptance. I'm right back there. I accept, all right? As you let it go, at some point you realize there's joy down there. That's what's underneath there. You're the one who shoved all that stuff on top of your heart, and so that heart's all screwed up in your mind. Otherwise, your natural state is ecstasy. Your natural state is so beautiful. Anytime you want, wave your hand across your heart, cross that chakra, love will pour out of your heart as long as you want it to. There, that's how hard it is to have love. But if you're blocked, not a chance in the world. Okay? Find some reason that's disturbing. If you're listening, you are naturally filled with love. You don't need to find it. You need to get rid of what's making you not feel it. And that's why you practice acceptance. So now we got to the point where, okay, I can handle it. Okay, I don't want it down there anymore. Okay, periodically things stimulate it. Good. Now I like you. Come see me at that point. Where your attitude is, thank God. Thank God it's not just sitting down there screwing my life up. I am ready, willing, and able to let this be its season. See, everything has a season. A season for the stuff to come up, is it? A season for you to reach the point that you welcome that the stuff is coming up. And that's not the highest state. You will reach a point where you realize, I don't want this in here. And I'm willing to go through whatever it is that liberates me from the garbage I stored inside. I wasn't able to handle it before, but I can handle it now. You keep doing this. And eventually you look down there. You're not just saying I can handle it. You're looking down there and you see that you stored this, they call that the child, whatever you want to call it. You stored that thing down there and it's hurt. It got locked in the dark. That's what you did with that part of you. You said, I can't handle that. I can't handle the pain. I can't handle the loss. I can't handle those things. So I pushed them down into the dark. You call it the subconscious, whatever you want. I push it down into the dark and every time it comes back up, shove it back in the closet. That's not very nice. And you start having what's called compassion. For who? For you, for what you did in there. You didn't create the event. You didn't create how you experienced the event. But there's nobody else in there pushing it down. There's nobody else in there but you, is there? You're the one who couldn't handle it. You're the one who pushed it away. And you start looking down there, say, and you actually apologize. Everything you pushed away is a part of your psyche. It has memories, it has smells and tastes and feelings. You stored the whole thing down there, and it comes back up, doesn't it? You look down at it, and you say, I'm sorry. You're conscious enough, you're clear enough to look down at that part of your being that got blocked down there and apologize. I'm sorry I shoved you down there. I will never do it again. I will do everything I can to learn to stay centered enough, clear enough, accepting enough to honor life as it is, to where I don't have to sit there and suppress it inside of me and make this ego that has all these concepts of views of how everything has to be for me to be okay. And there you go. How are you okay? Because for everything, there's a season of time for every person in heaven. Now you're really okay. How can you not be okay? Except the reality of what's never taking place. All right? But don't think that doesn't mean you don't deal with it. First, you accept, honor, respect the reality of the fact that things happen and things are because of all the things that cause them to be. Therefore, everything has a season, everything has its purpose. Okay? Now, as you get clear, now you're one of the clear ones. You're one of the elders, one of the wise ones. You're able to handle life. What part of life? All of life. Well, what about war? Does it happen? Has it always happened? Is there anything you can do about it? Well, to start with, you can be a little nicer to your neighbor. Okay? To start with, you don't have to have road rage because somebody bumped into your car or was driving slower or get all upset because it's hot out. You go to war with all kinds of things, don't you? What is road rage? War. I'm going to war. I don't like the way you drove. What is anger? People throwing things around. How could you say that to me? War. It's war. I couldn't handle. And so you find out that at a minimum, you can handle these things. And if you can handle them, at least at a minimum, you don't have to throw them back out in somebody's face. You can find ways to negotiate, to talk, to bring peace, and so on. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth. So how many times can I say it? Can you see the absolute amazing truth when you start to accept things are... Here, I told this the other day. Go to a Zen master, a great Zen master, right? You walk in. I read a book about this once, a long time ago. And you go in, and they're sitting there, and they ask you some questions. All right? And before you leave, they say, grass is green, water's blue, and flowers are red. And then it says, go home. And you say, what kind of stupid teaching is that? For everything, there's a season. Time for every purpose of heaven. Are you okay that the flowers are red? You okay that the water's blue? You okay that the grass is green? That's what's teaching you. It's the exact same teaching, isn't it? Same teaching. It's not my will, but thy will. Same teaching. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. All the deep teachings are exactly the same. They are, why are you in there deciding you're more important than reality? Okay? When you find out you're not, something very beautiful happens. You start letting go of this stuff. And we were talking about, you go down there and you apologize. That's a very important step. You're no longer pushing it away. You're no longer justifying, rationalizing, explaining, anything. You're just saying, this is not good. I didn't accept the reality of what took place in the past. Therefore, I stored it inside of me. So I am going to help it come up. Apologize to it. Reach your hand down and help it up. The Gita has a line like that. The Bhagavad Gita, which is really beautiful. It says, one should raise the self with self, not trample down the self. For self, which is self's friend, can become self's foe. But it's using Atman, capital A, for the Atman, for the higher self. One should raise the lower self with the higher self. You should raise it up, not trample down the self. Push it away. And that thing was written a long time ago. It's pure psychology, all right? Not for self, which can be self's friend, can become self's foe. As I talked about, you can become enemies. Or you can sit there and help raise the lower self. What does one do when they have a lower self? Some psychologists just cope with it. You have to cope with it. It will always be in there. Learn to cope with it. No, you don't have to cope with it. You can let it go. You can let it come up. You can not just let it go, help it up. Raise the self with self. So what happens to the lower self? It becomes higher self. Not because you put a spiritual ego in front of yourself and said, I'm the spiritual person. Don't you see that? Don't tell me I'm not, because I am. No. You raise it up, and literally the energy that used to be held down there, because you let it come up, it transmutes. And next thing you know, anger becomes love. Fear becomes strength. It does. It transmutes because you're not holding it down there. And so basically, that's how you raise the self of self. And eventually, there's nothing in there. There's pretty much nothing in there, a very thin veil that has anything to do with the personal. It's all about you wake up in the morning and the sky is blue. You wake up in the morning and it's raining. I used the example the other day. You wake up in the morning and you're out of toothpaste. You wake up in the morning and the kid is crying. Like, it just is what it is. You say, how can I help? You become a servant of reality. That's the great masters talked about that. That in the end, all that's left is a servant of God. Okay? How about all that's left is a servant of life? How about this one? All that's left is a servant of reality. That's what acceptance does. It says reality wins. How can it not? It already happened. I don't understand. You understand? The fact that you didn't like it, you want to fight with it, you just make a mess. So how do you practice acceptance? How do you work with everything there's a season? Literally, can you actually work with that? You say, but I'm not like that. I fight for what I want. I struggle and I suffer a lot. Okay, and I get disappointed, and I'm disappointed in people. All people, I'm disappointed in people. Okay, well, then you're not happy and you can't deal with things. You can't deal with people if you're disappointed with them because you're pushing them away. And so you do, now we're going to talk about the essence of the teachings. You practice being okay. Don't worry, you need the practice because you've been very busy practicing not being okay. If anything is not the way you want, you're not okay with it. The tiniest thing. I'm having my breakfast cereal and I ran out of milk. What kind of day is this going to be? I only have a tiny little bit of milk left. You just sit there and complain. For everything, there's a season to run out of milk. How do you know? Because it's right here in front of me. You start taking a totally different attitude. So I'm saying it over and over again. There's a reason you ran out of milk. You forgot about it last time. They didn't have it in the store. They didn't have the type you want. I don't know. Your husband or wife drank it all, fed it to the cat, didn't tell you. I don't know. But those are all reasons that for everything there's a season to run out of milk. The question is not complain and argue and blame. The question is that okay with you? First, you accept the reality. And then you start looking at it and you realize it is not worth not being happy because I ran out of milk. I heard the expression, don't cry over spilled milk. Well, don't cry when you ran out of milk. In fact, it's good you ran out of milk, now you can't spill it. Start practicing being okay. But what if I'm not okay? Understand what it feels like to not be okay and see if you like that feeling. You were happy in the morning. Oh boy, I get to have my breakfast and blueberries and I save them. I'm all excited. But now you're not because you ran out of milk. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Not being excited because you ran out of milk? I found a long time ago the answer is no. I'd rather be excited. You're having a good relationship with somebody, on a date, whatever it is, and they say or do something that you didn't fit within your frame of reference that they would do. Your heart starts to close. Which would you rather have? The feeling of love, attraction, and acceptance, or a closed heart? Maybe it was okay what they said, and then I can deal with it. Maybe I need to say, well, fine, it's really beautiful, but what led you to say that? Or maybe you look at it and say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I reached that point a long time ago where he would sit there and say, well, ask or talk about it or this or that. And I asked him, I said, well, what are you going to do? What if they give you a bunch of junk about it and so you feel worse? Could happen. What if they apologize, but you're not sure if they really meant it? And you start saying, why do I need to know why it happened? It happened. Why can't I honor and respect that whatever the reasons were, they were? And the reason is you're afraid. You're afraid it'll happen again. Right? You don't paint it that way. You don't paint it that I'm afraid it'll happen again. You paint it, I'm not okay that it happened. But really, if you knew it would never happen again, God told you, he came down, this was a test, you did great, just handle it, and what do you feel? You'd be fine. You understand? You just want to be okay. And so you're just sitting there saying, I don't want it to happen again. So instead, you sit there and say, I don't care why it happened. I'm not coming down. What I care about is, am I going to react to it? Do I end up not feeling love and not getting along with this person and complaining about the driver and the heat and this and that? Or do I just sit there and say, it is what it is, and I understand that everything has a season. That's the end of it. I'm fine with it. If you want to investigate it, go have some fun, but you won't. You better be careful because you're going to start looking into it. Your mind will figure out, oh, I know why he said that. Right? He told me once his grandmother did this, the other thing, and so on, right? So I'll just ask him, and he comes back and says something totally different than what you were thinking. Now you're hurt twice as much, 3 times more. Ever happen? Of course it happens. It's never what you think. Any reason you think somebody did something, you don't have any idea. Why? Your thought patterns are the sum of your learned experiences. His or hers are the sum of their learned experiences. They did not have your experiences. Of course, you're going to put it together your way. It is not that way. It can't be that way. Psychology says you're the sum of your learned experiences. Well, so is he or she. And you did not have the same experiences ever. This can liberate you, understanding this. So you don't even care. You get to a point where I don't need an explanation because it really doesn't mean anything. It's just me trying to feel better about what happened. I need to look at it and say, do I want to come down over this? Am I willing to get neurotic about what took place? And you start saying, no, I don't need an explanation. That's what Meher Baba had a beautiful sequence. Meher Baba was a fully enlightened, great being. He said, understanding has no meaning. I just told you why. I don't understand why you did that. I don't understand why it had to rain today. I don't understand. Okay, what you're basically saying is I can't handle it. Give me a decent explanation so my mind can feel okay with the rationalization of what you said, as opposed to understanding has no meaning. Things happen. You're welcome to study. If you're in school, study biology, meteorology, do your thing, right? But if you have to understand everything, you're in big trouble, especially human behavior. Here, I gave you a way to understand. You don't realize how deep what I just gave you. Total liberation. You ready? Why did this happen? Because for everything, there's a season of time for every person in heaven. Isn't that good enough understanding? It turns out that the answer that we used to make fun of, and the kids said, why is the sky blue? The answer is because. Why did you say that? Because I don't need an explanation. It's not going to last anyways, and it's just trying to make me feel better. So you'd skip the mind part by saying, it's okay. I don't need to understand. I need to accept. That's a different thing. I don't need a reason to accept. I have a reason because it happened. That's the reason. That's sufficient reason. Fair enough? Okay. He said, understanding has no meaning. Love has meaning. In other words, if you have a choice between closing your heart because of what somebody said, or because of a thought you had, or something reminded you of something, or keeping your heart open, I wonder which one's better. So you choose. You choose to feel love. How? By not closing. I had a whole talk the other week about not closing. How do you open your heart? By not closing it. And that's the truth. So that's what Meher Baba was saying, is the understanding. You're wasting your time with your mind. Just look at your heart. Do you want it to close? No, it doesn't feel good closed. Then don't close it. Do you close your heart to protect yourself? If you don't like something, or you're afraid you might not like something. You get to the point where you say, I don't do that anymore. That's spiritual growth. It's deeper. Then he went deeper than most people will ever understand. He said, deeper than love is, he used the word obedience. It really meant commitment. That's what you'd call commitment. Why are you not closing your heart? Because I'm committed. I'm committed to you. I'm committed to my job. I'm committed to God. I'm committed. That deep, willful commitment is more powerful. Love is fine while you feel it. Are you willing to be committed when you don't? Because for everything there's a season. The love will come, love will go. But the commitment means it goes past that. I've never said it like they understand that. You say for everything there's a season of time for a purpose. I don't understand the purpose. It's not making me feel love, but are you committed? Doesn't matter. Are you committed? Ooh, boy, that's powerful, isn't it? Committed to what? Committed to being present. Committed to not giving in to the lower part of your being. I'm committed, right? And then the last one he said, deeper than that commitment is the little, it's like a dress that they wear. He said, hold on to my daman. Just hold on to the hem of my daman. And that's the highest thing you can do. It was just completely surrender to the highest thing around you. Christ, Buddha, the masters. I'm just talking about becoming nobody. There's nobody in there anymore resisting reality. I'm not trying to not resist. It's over. You've let go completely. All right? So, I don't always talk at that level. Right? It's very deep, very strong stuff. Right? But don't even bother to that level. The level we really talked about, which is, can you handle reality? It comes back to that. Can you handle reality? You don't want to look at it as reality. I don't like that it happened. Of course I can't handle it. So start practicing. So I was going, start practicing with little things. With the weather, with the toothpaste, with the rain, with the driver in front of you. There's these little things that happen every day. They are obviously reality. I want to go 55 miles an hour as a speed limit, and this guy's going 35. and I can't pass. Can I handle that? Why should I? Because for everything, there's a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. There's a time for a 35-mile-an-hour driver to be driving in front of you. Can you handle it? How do you handle it? By not resisting, by relaxing. You learn to relax. You learn to let go of the tendency to resist. Do you have a tendency to resist all the time? You resist your thoughts, you resist your feelings, you resist everybody else's thoughts, because it's not the way you want, or you're afraid it won't be, all right? Just practice relaxing during those times. Like I say, the new book really goes through this stuff. All my books do, but people are saying that this goes very deeply. So you just practice under all circumstances, relax to the best of your ability. If you can't do it and you fall, get back up, don't judge, just do better. Just do better next time. And practice surrender, practice releasing, practice acceptance. And eventually you'll get to the point where you realize, well, of course, for everything there's a season. And you're just so at peace. There's just this deep, deep acceptance and surrender. Very great state. And then you become a blessed person walking on the earth because you're bringing peace, bringing harmony. All right. Work on these things. Gyrative.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.